Undercover Billionaire builds an $800,000 business in 90 days. Billionaire Glenn Stearns takes a daring bet, wagering $1 million to prove he can build an $800,000 business in just 90 days with only $100. Undercover as Glenn Bryant, he sets out on a thrilling journey to start a craft beer business, facing challenges, making tough decisions, and seeking success in a competitive market. Do you think he can make this? Well, let's see. Billionaire Glenn Stearns, adopting the alias Glenn Bryant, begins his ambitious challenge with just $100 in his pocket. He heads to a used car dealership and manages to buy a Honda Civic for $700, aiming to flip it for profit. Glenn gets a lead on another car, a Cadillac Escalade, for $2,500, which he negotiates down to $1,500. He now has two cars to sell. Glenn advertises the Honda Civic for $4,500 and finds a potential buyer named Chet. After a test drive, they agree on a price of $3,900, and Glenn makes a $3,200 profit. Glenn meets with potential team members at a bar crawl. He discusses a plan to start a craft beer business in Erie and gauges their interest and commitment. Glenn meets with lawyer Ted Zeller to get advice on opening a brewery. Ted informs him about the lengthy permitting process and the challenges ahead. He starts researching the craft beer industry and the competitive landscape for potential opportunities and challenges. Glenn visits a local brewery to learn more about the brewing process from a professional brewer named Brian Sprague. Glenn finalizes his decision to start a craft beer business, convinced that it aligns with his goals and the community's interest. He starts looking for team members to help him make his dream a reality. Undeterred, Glenn continues his search for a car to flip. He visits several more dealerships, but they all decline to sell him any trade-ins directly. Disheartened but determined, Glenn decides to shift his focus back to the craft beer or coffee business. Glenn meets with a small business development center to discuss the potential of both the craft beer and coffee industries in Erie. They provide valuable insights, market research, and guidance to help him make an informed decision. After carefully considering the market trends and potential, Glenn decides to pursue the craft beer business. He sees the collaborative and supportive nature of local brewers as a significant advantage and believes it aligns better with his goals. Glenn connects with Chris Sirianni, the owner of a successful brewery at Union Station. They discuss the craft beer industry and its potential for growth in Erie. Chris offers advice and support, encouraging Glenn to take the leap. Glenn starts researching the craft beer industry in depth, learning about different brewing techniques, local suppliers, and potential competitors. He also begins to conceptualize his brand and the unique qualities he wants to bring to the market. Excited about his craft beer venture, Glenn starts reaching out to potential team members with expertise in brewing, marketing, and sales. He also looks into available locations for setting up the brewery. Glenn's dream of starting a craft beer business is becoming a reality. The construction and renovation work for the brewery begin, and he continues to collaborate with local brewers and entrepreneurs to gather more knowledge and support. Glenn Stearns, the determined billionaire, rushes to the Small Business Development Center with only 78 days left to decide on the business he will pursue to reach his million-dollar goal. The SBDC presents market research on Glenn's top two picks: coffee and craft beer. The discussion begins with the pros and cons of the coffee industry. Coffee shops have a high demand, but the market can be saturated. On the other hand, the craft beer industry shows promising growth, and local breweries are supportive of newcomers. However, there are barriers to entry, including licensing and equipment costs. After careful consideration, Glenn decides to venture into the craft beer business. With a community that enjoys craft beers and a collaborative environment, he sees the potential for success and natural expansion. He plans to connect with other local breweries to leverage their infrastructure and reduce equipment expenses. Eager to get started, Glenn asks the SBDC to help him recruit team members. He seeks an experienced brewer and a skilled website designer to join his team. Surrounding himself with the right people is crucial for success. Glenn is excited about the journey ahead and intends to post an ad online to attract passionate individuals interested in building a new local business in Erie. He plans to hold open interviews to find the perfect team members. Time is of the essence, and Glenn knows that without the right team, his dream of $1 million craft beer business could be at risk. Determined and resourceful, he is prepared to face the challenges head-on to achieve his ambitious goal. With the clock ticking, Glenn's entrepreneurial journey is about to take off in the ever-growing craft beer industry. Having decided to start a craft brewery, Glenn Stearns seeks guidance from Brian Sprague, a local brewery owner, to learn more about the brewing process. Glenn understands that knowing the ins and outs of the business is vital to its success. With enthusiasm and determination, he dives into the 4 key steps of brewing: mashing, boiling, fermentation, and bottling. During the mashing process, Glenn witnesses malted grains being steeped in hot water, activating enzymes that release sugars, creating the foundation of the beer, the wort. As the wort is boiled, hops and other spices are added for flavor and preservation. Glenn is captivated by the intricate flavors and complexities that arise during this stage. Fermentation becomes the next step, as the wort is combined with yeast and stored for weeks. The yeast consumes the sugars, converting them into alcohol and carbon dioxide, transforming the liquid into beer. It's a fascinating transformation for Glenn to witness, and he gains a deeper appreciation for the craft. During their conversation, Glenn inquires about the challenges of running a brewery. Brian mentions the unavoidable costs, such as taxes and insurance, that can be financially taxing. Regulatory bodies, building codes, and permits also pose hurdles, but Brian advises Glenn to work with a knowledgeable attorney to navigate these intricacies. As Glenn is used to having a team of lawyers for his business ventures, he realizes that he must now handle such tasks himself due to limited resources. Determined to generate the required startup funds, he plans to venture into house flipping to stack up some money. Armed with newfound knowledge and passion for the craft beer business, Glenn is ready to take the next steps. He appreciates the guidance from local experts and recognizes that building a successful brewery requires more than just brewing skills. Glenn is eager to use this experience to gather the right team and to begin his entrepreneurial journey in the exciting world of craft beer. In his quest to generate startup funds for his craft beer business, Glenn dives back into the car flip business. He comes across a great opportunity from a local dealer going out of business, who offers Glenn a Honda Civic with 152,000 miles for $1,200. After some negotiation, Glenn seals the deal at $700, a significant discount from its potential resale value. Glenn refurbishes the car, hoping to sell it for a healthy profit. He manages to find a buyer named Chet and agrees on a final price of $3,900, making a successful car flip. Feeling confident, Glenn sets his sight on another potential deal, an Escalade from the same dealer, purchased for $1,500. He aims to sell it for at least $7,500 to achieve his weekly $10,000 goal. Meanwhile, at the Small Business Development Center, Glenn gathers the potential team members for a bar crawl to learn more about their personalities and to receive feedback on his craft brewery idea in Erie. He understands that finding the right team is crucial for the business's success and wants individuals who believe in his vision. Among the attendees are RJ, who had previously shown interest in joining the team, and Matt Sanders, who has a background in liquor distribution, making him a valuable asset. The group discusses the concept of the brewery and its focus on the local community, which resonates well with everyone. As the day progresses, Glenn is impressed by the team's enthusiasm and sees their investment in the vision. However, he realizes that time is of the essence and must start moving quickly on executing the brewery plan. Feeling determined, Glenn contacts a lawyer named Ted Zeller to seek advice on opening a brewery. Despite the lawyer's retainer fee being a financial burden, Glenn knows he needs professional guidance to navigate the complex permitting process. Glenn faces a significant setback when he learns that obtaining the necessary permits and licenses will take much longer than expected. With time running out, he needs to find a creative solution to sell beer without a brewery license. Now, if you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button below. Meanwhile, thanks so much for watching.